Thank you, Mr Walker. Always a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship, and can I congratulate the member for St Ives in securing today's debate. Clearly, food and farming is a significant industry in Scotland, where 98% of the land mass is considered rural, be that remote rural, more than a 30-minute drive from the nearest settlement, or nearly accessible rural, where you're within 30 minutes of a settlement of 10,000 people or so. So almost 1 in 5 of the population of Scotland lives in a rural community. So jobs in the rural sector are therefore incredibly vital to the Scottish economy. It's important that, despite the uncertain times, that we do continue to support the industry and ensure it has a sustainable footing for the future. Currently in Scotland's natural environment is worth more than 20 billion per annum and supports more than 60,000 jobs. Between 2010 and 2015, the total turnover of Scotland's food and drink industry increased from 10 billion to 14.4 billion, with exports in 2016 being worth 5.5 billion, an increase of 40% since 2007. So Scottish food and drink really is going through something of a renaissance at the moment, and we see that, and we know that the quality that's there within that industry, something that I'll come back to later in my comments. But there are also challenges. The average age of Scottish farmers is now around 58, with only 9% of farm occupiers 40 or under. So, as the honourable member for St Ives was highlighting, it is incredibly important we find ways to bring new young people into these industries to make sure that we do have that sustainability and the resilience to continue to support industries that are so vital to all of us. In Scotland, the SNP Government are very keen to support young people into the industry to make sure that fresh, bright young farmers keep the rural economy going into the future. And in April 2017, the Scottish Government announced a fund of £2.5 million to help develop new entrants into farming. Funding will support the next generation of farmers while increasing opportunities for young people to establish a career in agriculture. This latest award will see a further 47 new farming businesses share the money to help them create and develop their businesses. I suppose one of the biggest challenges of any business in a rural economy is also the access and uptake of broadband. That's something I know that is something that we do continue to return to, and as I say, with 98% of Scotland considered rural, the rollout of broadband to help support businesses as we move into an ever more technical world is critical to also help support the running of local rural farming and food businesses. But we are in an uncertain world just now, and the UK vote to leave the EU has created significant uncertainty in the agriculture sector. The hard Brexit that we so often hear about would be absolutely devastating for sections of Scottish agriculture, cattle and sheep, who potentially face both high tariffs and loss of subsidy support. We have the risk of future protection of Scottish protected food names like Scotch beef or Stornoway black pudding. We don't yet know what's going to happen to protected name status. Will we have a scheme here in the UK, given that European scheme will no longer be accessible to us? We risk losing the common regulatory framework that help maintain food safety, animal and plant health standards, as well as reduce non-tariff barriers to trade. Jobs and investment opportunities have been put at risk over entering into multi-annual contracts under the SDRDP, agri-environment or forestry schemes. And some of Scotland's remote rural communities have fragile populations where EU migration helps to ensure resilience of these communities. And without the ability to have that movement, there's a real risk put not just on the food and farming industries, but entire communities across Scotland. The government's gamble with our membership of the EU has created significant uncertainty, with now facing a loss to much-needed seasonal workers. Agriculture directly employs 65,000 people and underpins our £14 billion food and drink industry, one of the fastest growing and most successful sectors in Scotland. Along with other rural businesses, agriculture relies heavily on seasonal workers, yet despite repeated questioning, We've not yet had a clear answer from the Government as to what rights will be protected for these seasonal workers, an estimated 5,000 to 15,000 working in the sector annually. Berry picking alone requires a significant number of seasonal workers, and more than a third of the UK's soft fruit comes from Scotland. So the industry is clearly facing challenges. The cap payment issues are there. There's no point trying to pretend it's not. But that is the Euro Secretary's #1 priority in the Scottish Government. And these payments have started making 2016 cap payments and are expected by the end of June. The vast majority of farmers and crofters will have received their 2016 basic payments. We understand the NFUS President's frustration at the current situation regarding IT system for cap payments, and that's certainly something the Cabinet Secretary has been keeping him and the NFUS officials advised of developments and getting the input, so we'll see what else we need to do in the Scottish Government. So as I say, the industry, with so many benefits and so many opportunities for Scotland, it's growing so quickly, but to suddenly come up against the challenges and potential risks that Brexit face to the industry, it really has put a big question mark over what can we have by way of guarantees from the Government, what protections can we secure to make sure that Scotland's burgeoning food and drinks industry is protected to continue to grow and to continue to contribute to the economy.